Hi guys, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending where you are. You may feel, oh, hang on a second, we've got a little bit of repetition going off. There we go, that's better. You might hear some very strange background music today because there is something going on in our local town. They tend to do it May bank holiday weekend, and yeah, there's been some interesting singing, I think it was. Interesting sounds anyway. So yeah, good afternoon. So we've got quite a few people in at the moment. You'll have to bear with me today because I am trying something a little bit new. I am trying out our the StreamYard platform. So you might have seen something weird written on the post that I put up for the live itself. Basically, StreamYard have a webinar service, and if you sign up to it, you will get like access to the recording and a few other bits. I'm still learning my way around. Cindy and Todd both use it quite regularly and use it very successfully. I am part of their group. It's just I've never really used it apart from sending to various platforms. So please feel free to sign up. It should generate some kind of list then that I can send out via newsletter, which I'm going to try and improve so that I can let you know when these lives are happening. Because once I'm back from the US at the end of June, beginning of July, I'm hoping to get a bit more on it with lives. Things have calmed down generally, so that's the thought anyway. So yeah, there we go. So we've got quite a few people in at the moment. I'm just gonna clean these molds out slightly because I just got a load of blooming flakes on them. But anyway, and then we will make a proper start. Is there anything in there? Yes. Okay. So, is it loading okay? Because on my iPad, it seems to suggest that it isn't. Let's put it on there. Not sure. So we've got a few people in from various places. We've got Michael from Canada. And I've just spotted who was from New York. I spotted someone there. And then we've got Mike from the UK who's said hello to literally everybody. And Wayne, don't worry about it, Martin. I've just seen what you've said. Don't regret anything. It's probably not going to be too long alive, isn't this? So there's no panic there. Tez, thank you. I can hear loud and clear. That's brilliant. Jeff's in. James is in. Hi, James. Hi, Jackie. So yeah, let's make a start anyway. Thank you for the thumbs up, whoever it was that gave us that. Oh, it's so frustrating having this going on in the background. It's really throwing me off because they are so loud. Anyway, let's make a start. So today, it is flickering only on the iPad. Right, okay. Just bear with me a sec, guys. I'm just going to change something on here. Yeah. 2 seconds, guys. I'm just trying to change myself onto something different with all messages. Cool. Sweet. Yes, okay, so today we are going to be playing with this stuff, Texture Paste, which is pretty exciting as it goes. So there are 2 different versions. There is black and white. They both tend to come in these tubes. The black one has a slightly longer nozzle on it, which you can either use to sort of squeeze it out in a fine line, or you can take the whole cap off and you can squeeze a load out. And I've been doing various different things with this stuff. Initially, I thought it was more for just applying onto the surface of something. And I have played with it in molds, but then I found some really, really cool molds. These are like fondant molds. We've got a couple just on the lathe here that I'm going to put some more of the stuff into. Let me just put my board down. Actually, I'm going to need this in a second because we're going to start with putting the texture paste in. So these are fondant molds for sugarcraft. So people that make desserts and things like that, you can put your stuff into your fondant, whatever, into these molds, and then when it dries, it gives quite a fine pattern. But you can actually do it with the texture paste as well, which this is really, really made me appreciate what you can do with this stuff. It's kind of quite limitless. So I'm going to try a couple of things today as well. As you can see, the one with the leaves, I've used this quite a few times already so far, and I'm going to show you the results of this. But we're going to start out by putting some of the things in there. So if you've never worked with resin, you can also put powders down, and then when you pour the resin in, it will stick the powders to the resin. I want to try that with this stuff to see if it works. And I'm going to do it on this one because I've already got bits of flakes chucked all over the place. So that is what I'm going to go with to begin with. 2 seconds again. I'm going to leave the studio. Right, that's better. There we go. Cool. So I'm going to use Dragon. And I'm assuming it's going to work the same. So the silicone molds will hold the pigments and the flakes already. So I'm just going to dip this in and basically just brush the flakes into the molds. Now, they have got a little bit dusty, and I probably should have cleaned them a little bit better first. I probably should have given them a wash, but I didn't want to do it because I've already got this tester areas done on these molds here. But yeah, dust is not your friend when it comes to brushing powders, etc. into molds. You want it as clean as possible, and then it will sort of coat and stick to the silicone surface. Oh my word, that singing is terrible. It's not even singing, it's just howling. I should have just done a live from there instead. It would be a different kind of entertainment, that's for sure. So I've chucked some flakes on there. It is a little bit dusty, so they haven't stuck brilliantly, although on the camera it looks really good. And let's go with a green on here. We have been having some camera problems recently, guys. We can't figure out if it's the port on the camera, the cable, which we've tried various cables, or the display that we have on there. So it keeps working, and then we think that it's all right, and then it goes funny again, and it flickers on and off, and it's just caught it doing it. So giving this quite a good covering. The mica is definitely sticking a little bit better. Now, the only downside of this is I am going to have to put this up as a picture tomorrow. I have found with the texture paste it needs overnight really for it to cure properly. It says that you can dry it with a hairdryer, so you can sort of help force dry it, but to be honest, I've tried it and it still takes quite a long time to dry because it is very, very thick. Now, you might think, well, why am I bothering with doing this with texture paste instead of doing this with the resin? The reason is basically this stuff is amazing. It stays really flexible. So after it's dried, you can mold it into pretty much any surface whatsoever. Oh, I'm very glad, Michael, that you can't hear the music at this end. I can go and stand outside if you want. for an immersive experience of whatever's going on in our town. Right, let me just put this to one side. And let me grab some of these guys. So, oh, what am I doing? I need to put the actual texture paste in. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Right, so we're going to use the texture paste in a couple of ways. I'm going to put some of them into these leaf molds, just the black texture paste as it is. I will talk about the white one as well, but this is what we need to do now. So now we've got the colours in, we're now going to put the texture paste into the molds. I'm going to use a palette knife to achieve this because I've found it's the most efficient way of doing it. And I'm going to just put it in straight from the tube. I've taken off the nozzle completely because there's no real benefit of using the nozzle itself. I'm just going to give it a bit of a massage. It can sort of harden a little bit. It's all right in this kind of temperature, but it can harden a bit, and you just need to massage it in the tube to help it out. So here is my palette knife. So I'm just going to start to work this into the molds. Now, the one thing I have realised with the texture paste is that you can still end up with bubbles. It does, because it is so thick, and especially if you're using it in a mold that's quite fine or is quite complicated, then you're gonna potentially get bubbles on there. So you won't get an absolutely perfect distribution, but it's really, really not that bad. I'm not sure that they'll tame the flakes completely, Pete, but we're getting there. So I'm just kind of working it over and over and over the surface and just pushing down with a palette knife. I'm using quite a long, slim palette knife so that it will bend. And that's important for this next bit because I'm now going to scrape over the whole mold. So the reason that you wouldn't want to bother to do this is because if you don't do it, you end up with quite a lot of cleanup when you take it out of the mold again. And it kind of helps just move it across the surface of the mold and tries to get right in there and cover everything. So I'm kind of going back and forth a few times before I lift it off one final time. That should do. So it's important as well to work on a flat surface. If you're not on a flat surface, you will not get a brilliant finish. And this is the back of the mold, don't forget. So if it's a bit raggy on the back, it's not the end of the world. So I'm happy with that. We've got coverage. It's filled to the top. I can't see any areas that's got bits missing, so that's fine. And then I'm going to continue to just press this now into the mold with the micas. I think this one may be more successful than the other. But yeah, I will have to post the pictures of this up tomorrow so that you can actually see how it comes out. Now, Lynn, when she first taught me how to use this stuff, she did say that she could put it in the airing cupboard or on a radiator. I tried it on the radiator and I got quite a bit of shrinkage. I think it sort of dried it out a little bit too fast. So I'm not sure that the radiator is the best way to go. Hairdryer, like I've already said, worked to an extent, but it wasn't anything to write home about. It still took ages. And the best results I've had so far are filling this and leaving it overnight. Simple as. So again, back and forth a few times. It just lets you get in where those bubbles are. Now, one thing I did wonder whether it would work or not. I haven't got one, but again, anyone who works with resin may have a vibration plate. And that is very good for getting bubbles out of resin. And all it does is it literally just vibrates at very, very high speed, which makes the air lift to the surface. And I wonder whether that might be a possible solution for some of the bubbles that's in here. But at the moment, all I'm trying to do is just work it and work it and work it until I'm happy that I've got a good coverage. So there we go with those two. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. We've got still quite a bit of paste on here. You do need more than you think that you do. So I just carry on and just keep filling the molds a little bit. And let me move this to one side. Now I will be taking out two of these ones momentarily because they have been done and dried out overnight. So, got flakes in there. Didn't want that. Sorry. Okay. So this is one of my favourite moulds at the moment, is the mould that's got the leaves in it. Oh, okay, so Gary uses it. So let me just pop that up on screen. Hang on a second. So Gary uses a texture medium as well. So yeah, just leave it overnight to work itself naturally and dry out naturally. And Gary's stuff's awesome. We are the very proud owners of one of his pieces of work, which is pride on the one of the only pieces of wood turning in the house, actually. Gary Lowe and Kirsty Dalton. Yeah, it's because of Roy. Roy's a huge Gary fan. So when we got that, we were chuffed to bits. So you're hearing it from the oracle there, guys. So I'm just going to fill a couple more of these leaves just so that you can see the process, anybody who's just arriving. So I'm just using the palette knife to just push that into these fondant molds. And they're not very expensive at the molds. I got these from Amazon. And I think there were a few different types in the pack. I think there were 4 or 5. But I've got some really cool ideas for these. So I'm going to show you something else that I have done with them so far. So I have been playing with this stuff for a little while, since I did the paint-a-thon the other weekend, and I've done various different things with it. I'm going to show you the white. Now, I haven't had a lot of success with the white, and I don't have a lot of that, and I think I know why Lynn never really bothered getting that one in. It hasn't got quite the same thickness, so its structure is not as good. It won't hold texture the same. Let's get that. That should be enough to cover that one, more or less. I'll just chuck that in. It needs a clean anyway. That might help lift some of the rubbish out of that mould. So I'll put this to one side. I'm just going to grab the white. So this is one I did yesterday again. Where have I put it? Oh, there. So what I've found with the white is it's just not quite the same. It really isn't. So one thing that the black texture paste is good at is holding the texture that you put onto it. It does soften a little bit, but not a great deal. The white, however, is a bit of a different story. So this was filled pretty much to the same extent as the black. And I don't know if we can really zoom in on this, but it got loads of bubbles in it. And it kind of all sunk. So the shrinkage was massive, and it is a lot wetter, is the texture of this, than the black one. So I haven't demolded this one. I'm going to take it out now to see what it's like, but I don't think it's going to get particularly good results. So I think with the white, you might have to go in a second time and coat over it, probably whilst it's still curing, actually. So, pardon? Roy's just said you could probably fill the hollows with colour, which is not a bad idea. But that is the back of the mould. So the front of the mould, so we've got quite a bit of clean up around the leaves, as you can see. or around the general mould. So a sharp knife and just go around them. That'll clean it up. The front of it's actually formed pretty well. I didn't think this would hold together on taking it out because it is so hollow. And like I say, the holes. But actually, you're right. That might be something in itself because it is sort of dished out even. So that might be something to play with actually. So I might continue my experiments with the white instead of just sacking it off. But I haven't got a lot of the white paste left at all. I really don't. The black's the main one. But yeah, it's taken quite well, and there's a couple of areas that we've got a little bubble or so, and that's it. So yeah, that's worked out pretty well. Better than I thought. So ooh, yeah, Troy, that's an interesting idea. Sort of mixing the black and the white. That could be quite cool. I haven't had a go at that. So something that I have had to play with, of course, is colouring these things because I thought, well, it's all right them being just black, but I was interested to see how they would cope with having some size on and some of the powders. So we've just put the powders and the flakes into the mold itself to see what it's like if it picks them up. But these have been put on with size. So this is the color. This is the ethereal pigment Eclipse. So that is the blue one that I have. So it's taken exceptionally well, but the best one by far is the one with the flakes. So that is the color Mermaid, and it is just sized over the top. So I will show you that in a second, and we'll do one and put some of the color over the top. Leisure, what's Leisure just written? Would the white work better if you were to use it to draw texture on the wood? No, the white one, I don't know why, Leisure, but the white one doesn't come with a fine tip, which is crazy because it's like a thinner texture. But it does sort of collapse. It doesn't hold the texture particularly well. And I'm going to do a platter, and I'm going to sort of build up a bit of texture with the texture paste, white on one side, black on the other, just so you can see. Now I'm going to turn the front of this one off. If anybody watched the demo that I did a couple of weeks ago, the paint-a-thon, this is texture paste that I've just played with putting. I put some copper leaf on the top of it, then I put some flakes, and that's the powders. And this is just some texture. I wanted to see what it would be like to turn, so I'm going to turn the front of this off and see what it is like to turn, and then I'll put some other texture on there, and then I've got a little project to do. Yeah. So Roy's just said, do I think the white is meant to be mixed with paint? That is a good question, and I do not know the answer. It's worth me trying that out. We'll try that today. Possibly. Yeah, possibly. But it does collapse. Let's see what it says. Need you general values. It doesn't really say. It just says it's a translucent paste. It's not translucent, though. For creating texture and 3D effects on paper, card, wood, metal, tin, and glass. Might do. It's worth a shot, but yeah, it's much more fluid than the other one. So I'm going to turn the front off this, and then we'll put some texture on here. And then I want to do this now before fiddling about doing the other bits and pieces, because it'll just give the texture paste a little bit of time to dry and move, and then you can actually see what I mean by the white not quite holding form the same. So where's my tool rest? You pinched it? All right, thanks. Yeah, Ben, you're right. The shrinkage does make it look a little bit more like leaves, so I think there's some more plating to be done on that, definitely. Oh. Pardon? Oh, yeah. Oh, it's really bad. Our singers, our backing group. Right, let's turn the front of this off. So I want to specifically turn the texture paste itself to begin with. So I'm just going to take the top of that off. Texture. Oh, okay. So Gary uses one that you can mix with the paint. So we'll have a bash. We'll have a bash. So that's one of the leaves is pinged off. Oh, they've all pinged off. I thought that I might be able to just cut through it, but we'll have a look and see. So it's definitely taking the edge off the tool straight away, and that makes sense because it's kind of gritty. So I'm just going to put a fresh edge on this. What's that? Sorry. You can't with the white. No, it just. But you probably could with the black. A little bit like the glass thingies. Can't remember what they're called. Let's just sort that edge out because it's warped a ton as this. So this is going to be our canvas. I'm going to give it a very, very, very quick sand. Quite a low grit. I don't want to. I'm just going to go over it with some 180. So I want it to be quite rough still, so that it's got a good keyed surface. Right. Where's my board? So I'm doing this particular type of texture because Lisa asked this on Friday. Yes, Friday at Cindy's talk. Let me zoom in a little bit more for this. Cool. So I'm going to stick to the same palette knife just chuck a bit of this down. So I'm just going to squidge a bit out. Get that onto about half of the wood. So bear in mind that I would probably you can turn it, you can get rid of it if it's in the way, but it does certainly take the edge off your cutting edge. So clean up is something to be considered. So you might want to consider masking So I was kind of thinking just putting a little bit of texture, just trying to get it a bit more even. So just a little bit of something with the palette knife just to spread that out. And I'm just doing something simple just to show you the same with the white paste. So the white will go on the other side. I won't mix it with... Did it leave anything in the flute of the gouge? No, Troy, it didn't really. I should have shown you the shavings. It did actually cut a little bit, but then it did blunt it very quickly. So you might be able to see just from it coming out of the tube, it's much less viscous, is the white paste. So if I spread that out, there's much less resistance to the palette knife as well. So I'm just going to tap the... Oh, I haven't got quite the right coverage up there. It's not quite doing the same as it did with the black. So I'm just pushing the knife in and just lifting it just to try and get this effect. And we'll zoom in on it now, and then we're going to come back a little bit later on. So I'm not going to touch it. I'm just going to put it right at the back of the workshop so it's not going to collect a ton of dust. But if I lift that up so that we can see it on the side camera, that's what we've got so far. Straight away, in comparison, the black is kind of holding that texture a lot better. In fact, the white's already started to sink. It's just not quite as clear cut. So we'll come back to that in a little while so we can see the difference. And now it's really easy to paint over is the black texture paste. You can paint over that no trouble. So I'll show you a bit of that, and we'll do a little bit of colouring as well with it. So come back to this couple of trees. These two are drying off. So these have been done for quite a few days, but I have taken it off straight away after overnight. I really wasn't sure that it would take this sort of level of what's the word? Not so much detail. It's just how thin it is, how fine the pattern is. I really didn't think it would handle it. And so we've got these little kind of trees going on that have come out pretty nice and flat. And then what else have we got? Oh, we've got these as well. These are kind of leaves now that I really never expect. That fair enough. That holding that kind of pattern is not. It's not unheard of. That is not too bad. These guys, these are a lot finer, and I've already tried some out. So you do have to be careful when removing it because you don't want to stretch and snap it. But nevertheless, I kind of try and bend the mold away from the texture paste as opposed to pulling the texture paste out. It's kind of a happy medium between the two. So I just think that this is going to give quite a lot of options, this kind of thing. I mean, that's come out brilliant. I'm really happy with that. It's got a little bit of bubbling, but that itself is going to add to the texture. That one needs a little bit of clean up. And then these are molds that are more kind of Baroque scrolls and all sorts of things. These again have been done a week or so, and they come out quite well, but they don't, because of the bubbling, they won't hold the exact level of detail that is inside the mould. So I'm not sure if we can zoom in a great deal. That one's come out really nice. That needs a bit peeling off. So yeah, let me just try and tip it. God, the light's rubbish. Let me just put my torch on. Sorry guys, that is a bit lame. Can we get any better light on there? Yeah, that one's not so bad. One of them's got quite a bit of bubbling in it. That one's got quite a bit of bubbling going on. I've got to sort the lighting out in here. I'm sorry, it's not great at all. So these have been done about a week. Some of the other leaves I've shown you have been done much longer than a week. And the important thing, and the thing that sets this stuff apart from resin, is that this is still bendy. So if I hold that on there, that is the level of bend you've got in this stuff. Obviously, if you go mad, then it will kind of potentially crack it. But that is pretty good. I'm really, really chuffed with this. That means that we can do all sorts, and we can mold it around any kind of shape. So if you've got the inside of a bowl or a goblet, for example, I might think, yeah, okay, let's put something like this little scroll around the top of this bowl here. You just push it in, and you can glue that down, and you've got some texture inside there, and it's just sat holding it very nicely. I could put one of these in, and again, you can just push that into play and form it, and it will perfectly form around that curve. So I think it's pretty good. Ben, do I have any leather cord that is the colour of pine? That's a bit of a broad question, really. I've got some sort of green. It's quite a deep green, kind of Christmas tree green, shall we say, and it's slightly distressed, so it's not just one solid colour. Martin, yes, you can absolutely use them as stencils. So I was at Maker Central the other weekend. Was it last weekend or weekend before? Last weekend. It seems like ages ago. And I used one of these leaves. I used this one here as as a stencil, and I sprayed over that with some Jo Sonja pearlescent, and the pearlescent sprayed really nicely onto the leaf, so we got quite a nice shimmer on the leaf, but it also was a really good stencil. And as you know as you may know with vinyl stencils, one of the difficulties is forming it around curves, because they stretch, bend, crease, and all sorts. So I was really chuffed with that. So yes, you can definitely use them as stencils. Does it shrink over time? No, it doesn't. Not that I've noticed, and I have used this stuff before. This was done on the paint-a-thon, which is 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it hasn't moved. It really hasn't shifted. It's got paint dry brushed over the top of it. Yeah, it's worked really well so far. But I have, as I say, used it before, and there's never been any issue with any kind of shrinkage. It, I suppose, with regards to it drying out even more, I don't know if it will completely dry to the point that it will sort of just crumble. So far, no. But I've never played with these kind of molds before, apart from in the last couple of weeks. So I think once it's shrunk and it's classed as dry, I don't think it shrinks anymore. Leisure thinks that the white one looks like green cheese. Anything else? I'm just seeing if I'm missing any other comments on there. In the molds, coat of white first backed up with the black. Yeah, so that's quite an interesting one. Pete's just suggested that putting a layer of white down might work, and then putting black over the top. I would still let the white dry a little bit. And I haven't played at building this up over a day or so. It did start to shrink, did that after a few hours, so I possibly would put some more white over the top. Hi, Lucy. Right, so I think I've caught up on comments so far. So we're going to put a little bit of colour on some of these. So I'm going to do a little bit of dry brushing, and I'm going to do a bit of colouring with flakes and powders, of course. So we're going to go and do the flakes and the powders first. I'm going to stick to the same colours that I've done in the mould already. So I'm going to use Dragon, and I'm going to use, for the flakes, I'm going to use Nature as the powder. And I've got some Elixir here as well, which I'm going to put on the Baroque stuff. So I'm just going to go straight in with the size and paint that. Can I what? Yeah, sure. Where am I? Size brush. Keep ruining brushes. Let's ruin an angle brush. Okay. So at the moment, it doesn't seem to require sealing first. So you don't seem to need a sealing coat. And so I'm just going to go straight in with the acrylic size. So I'm going to paint just over that front surface. There is a reason for doing this on the piece now as opposed to on the piece whilst it is on your bit of timber or whatever it is that you're making. What I found when I did the paint-a-thon was if you're dry brushing, you're going to end up dry brushing onto the surface of whatever it is you're applying this to, which isn't great, really. Because you then got a lot of cleanup to do. So I am sort of playing with the idea of preparing these. Someone's at the front door. So yeah, I'm playing with preparing these first, and then applying them once they're completed. Now, different sizes may require different processes. You might have to put a coat down of something or other first for different sizes, but the leaves that I showed right at the start, they just had a coat straight on top of the texture paste as it came out of the mold. So I'll do this one, and then I'm going to do just one of the scrolls because those are really good for dry brushing with the various textures and things that they have. So those are more or less ready to go. And then I'll do that nice little scroll with the elixir. And then we'll do a bit of dry brushing, which is always great fun to do. And this stuff really lends itself well to being dry brushed. And like I say, you can paint over it as well. So while that is drying, and I'm just giving the brush a bit of a rinse, has anybody got any questions I've missed, guys? Now is the time to chuck them on screen and I will try and answer them. Greg. Standard response from you. I would expect no less. What time is it over in California? What time is it now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is it like 6:45 in the morning or something? Trying to get my head in gear for US time. Right. Lucy, what am I up to since you were late? Honestly, what you like? So I am just going through this texture paste stuff, which is It's not a new product from the Jo Sonja range, and I have used it before. I've just never really played with it enough to realise its full potential, and it's got much more potential than I expected. So it's quite cool, really. It's quite an interesting demo. 7:45. I was right. Cool. Oh, we got Bob as well from Florida. I don't know the time. I know, and I can remember you telling me that California's like 8 hours behind, Greg, but I don't know about Florida, I'm afraid. Sorry, Bob. And Troy is in Australia, and it's nearly midnight. So, yeah, we've got everybody in today. Palettes. So I want to paint over this with some of this pearlescent. And seeing as I kind of think that these trees look more like seaweed, I'm just going to go over them with like a greeny blue. So I'm going to dry brush those. But this one I want to actually paint just to see what it's like for painting straight onto. Oh, yeah. I'm out of shot. Dope. It's not very good light, isn't that? So you can't really see the end result. Probably need a couple of coats, although I've just rinsed this brush, so it's watering the paint down slightly. So I would also be careful, because it is black, you might want to consider, guys, if you're using certain paints or certain colours, you might want to go over it with some white first so that it'll bring the colour out. But this one looks pretty cool on black, which is why I kind of chose it. Plus it's seaweedy. So it accepts the paint really nicely. But it's very, very interesting. I'm really enjoying it. I've got some cool ideas as well that I want to do with this stuff, and it's made me kind of got me mojo back a little bit with the turning. So I know I'm getting ready to go away for next Sunday, but in the week before that, there may be some time to play. So we've got our greeny, goldy, bluey bit of seaweed going on. So that's gone on very, very easily. What are you laughing at? What's Lucy said? Oh dear. Foolish. Oh dear. How old is she? You got to tell us how old she's going to be. Yeah. Right, so let's put some other stuff down. Oh, I've painted all over my board. Not that it matters, because it was covered in stuff anyway. Dope, didn't think about that. So I'm going to put some powder on here now. This is the, let me see if I can get a slightly better focus for you. No, put it back on the other one. I keep missing the focus point. I think that's it. Yeah, we'll go on yours. So this is nature. Again, I'm going for a greeny colour. So the size is dry now, and I'm just going to brush the powders on. So the powders go on super easy. And because these work anyway very well on a black background, then there's not really any prep. You just chuck your size on and you're kind of good to go, really. So I would definitely do it on some cardboard so that you can put the rest of the stuff, the surplus powder, back into the pot. I'm just chasing it round with the brush and picking it up. Right. But that's worked very, very nicely. Then the powders give you such a smooth application. Oh yeah, that's awesome. Wow. Blingy. Right. Now we'll go for flakes. Hang on. We need to... There. It's clean. So I possibly haven't chosen the best to go with for putting the flakes on, because it is so kind of narrow is the pattern, but I'm interested anyway to see how it works if it does. So I'm just going to chuck the flakes over the top. Oh yeah, it's sticking okay. Now when you work the flakes, let me put it down so I can do it properly. When you work the flakes, it does kind of break them down in size a little bit, so you can kind of just keep going over and get them to stick. I've got a little bit of green powder left in the brush. There's a couple of places that's picked up, but not many. Oh yeah, that's given quite good coverage. And you get kind of a slightly mottled effect with the flakes, which you don't get with the powders, and I quite like that. So yeah, you can see the colour shift nicely, and you might be able to see that it is slightly mottled, even on this kind of small size of texture. So that's cool, because the leaves that I've done before with this stuff are a lot wider. So this is great news, because putting these onto a curved surface, then if I just sort of bend that leaf and get some sort of yeah, look at that, some curvature on there, you can see all the different colours. That's flipping cool, really cool. So I just want to go in with some elixir on here that's empty, so I won't. Dope. Should have opened it first, Emma. Oh, let's do orange. I never ever use Phoenix, and yet it's such a nice colour. This is going to be like a coral piece, because it's not a very good leaf, really. So we'll make it into something else. So I'm just kind of getting right into the bottom of the pot, because the flakes are often smaller at the bottom of the pot. So that's kind of doing the job of breaking them down first as well. It's like a lava lattice. See, I never used this colour, and yet it's so cool. I'm just not a massive orangey person. Yes. Look at that. Ooh. So again, if you twist it and bend it, you've got all the different colours coming through. Very, very cool. So we'll do a little bit of dry brushing on these guys, and then we'll figure out something to put them on. How about that? And then we'll see how that other plate is progressing. Oh, I forgot to put my colour on there, didn't I? So I'm going to use Starlight on that one, because it's kind of a gold is Starlight. And then the others we will. Oops, that's way too much. I'm sorry, I'm just dusting this off camera. So Starlight's one of the ethereals, and it really is the closest one to gold that I have. It's a kind of gold to copper shift. But look at that, that's fantastic. It's just a lot more yellow than Phoenix or Inferno. Love that colour. Really love that colour. And then we shall do our dry brushing now that we've got all those other bits covered. So I'm going to stick to the JS colours, the Jo Sonjas, because they are really, really strong colours. Where are the metallics? So I'm going to start out with some copper. I'm going to go in with burnished copper, then highlight it with Aztec gold. It's just that little bit brighter as the Aztec gold. Hello, Jeff. The Dutchman's Woodshack. Interesting. Yep, we all love turning here. Greg, possibly, yes, you did get some of them. They are the same ones, maybe a slightly different variation, but yeah, they're the same thing. They're the same thing. They haven't changed, and you can use them all for doing the same thing. So dry brushing, gonna do metallic. So I have got, this is the burnished copper. You get a fluffy brush. I use eyeshadow brushes for them. I don't really pay more than $5 for a brush for dry brushing, and I just get a good coat on the brush and then swirl it off onto some paper, and then I go onto the back of my hand and swirl that around. And if it feels cold, it's wet and there's too much on there. So what we want to do is keep going until that feels dry, and then we can go over our piece with the paint. Now, something I accidentally picked up on yesterday, actually, at Sandon. I was demoing down at Sandon Woodturners, and if you have the paint and it is slightly wet, I'm terrible for using my hand as a palette. You can pick up a little bit of powder on there, so some of the ethereals or the chameleons, and it will put them down with the paint. Where am I? Oh, I didn't think we were using that overhead camera with it being so dark. I left-handed it. Now the colours that I used last week, not last week, the other week when we were doing the paint-a-thon, I used a gorgeous colour in the chroma range called Ancient Shield, which is just, it's really stunning, is that colour. But I just wanted to go with something a bit warmer today. So this will also highlight that it's got some bubbles in there. And I'm changing the angle of the piece and the dry brushing because I'm trying to cover more than just the very, very high spots. So once I've worked quite a bit of colour off, I'm going in there and I'm actually trying to get it down into the detail a little bit. But I don't want to just go from just cover it completely in the copper. We want to build it up. So that is what we've got to so far. So yeah, it does. It looks antique. So I'm going to now go in with the Aztec Gold, which is a brighter colour than the copper. And this is just going to help pick out the top bits. So I'll just show you for reference. This was the Ancient Shield that we used the other week. So this is Ancient Shield with a little bit of lustrous gold. That's not in focus. There we go. A little bit of lustrous gold. So this is more from the yellow side. This is more like antique brass. And that, I really loved the effect of that. So I'm going to go in now with the slightly brighter colour of Aztec Gold. You can tell the Yorkshire folk are in, can't you, when Mark's asking how much? $5 for a brush. Hey? The Yorkshire... How much? The Yorkshire contingency's in. Greg, I have tidied up my workshop. Thank you for noticing. See, somebody appreciates it. I've tidied it up. Woo. Ish. There's still loads of rubbish in there, but it's better than it was, for sure. Right. So, on with the Aztec Gold. That's looking rather good. Yeah, I think you must have Yorkshire blood, Lucy. Definitely. So just turning it around, getting it from different angles so that it's not all done from above. Oh, that looks cool. Really like that. A lot. That's got some powders stuck on it. It definitely works nicely with the copper as a base. I'm just putting some of the Aztec gold on the brush and putting that straight onto this other piece, and it won't have quite the same depth. It's good when you dry brush to build up layers. I'm sorry I'm not just doing this in camera, but if you compare those two, layers definitely work nicely for dry brushing. So it just doesn't have that same depth at all. So it's good to start with a slightly darker colour, and then even if it is one colour that you end up using and then you add white in it, or if you add silver in it, if it's kind of metallic, or gold, more of a yellowy gold. But yeah, just so that you can have a look at the two. The one that with the copper at the top, that's got burnished copper as a base and then Aztec gold. And if I wanted to take it a stage further, I'd add some lustrous gold in as well, which is a really nice sort of yellowy gold. But you also need to know when to stop, and I think that's kind of there, really. I like that a lot. Yeah, that's cool. And the paint's on. That's it. It just attaches. Yeah, like Roy says, it's cool that it started out as something in the tube. It's pretty good, isn't it? So now to make something with this stuff. Let's have a quick look at the plate. So this is the texture that we did earlier with both the white and the black. So actually it's held up. Oh no, it hasn't. It's much softer. It has still held a degree of texture, but from where it's very difficult to show it in the camera, but for where I'm stood, it's not really that defined. Whereas on the black, the camera's struggling to pick it up really because the white's bleaching it out. So yeah, on the black, it's much more defined. It's lost a little bit. Now, one idea that I had, this might sound like a bit of a mad idea, but I'm going to leave one of the white tubes open overnight. It won't go hard, won't the tube overnight, but it might just help just firm it up a little bit, really. Greg, I have used the powders. I've used the pigments as eyeshadow myself, and I was fine. I don't have them officially certified, so it's not one that I would recommend people do. But I have done it. I have used them. Right, let's see. Yeah, it does look quite regal. Let's see if we've missed any more comments. Bear with me. Cool. You see, Lucy does have Yorkshire blood. There you go. Oh. Martin asked a little while ago. Yes, you do remember me gluing them on with CA glue. That is what I used to stick them on with, and it worked brilliantly well. Nice and easy. Oh, Cindy popped in. Not long after about an hour after we'd started. Oh, about 15 minutes ago. Hi, Cindy. Bye, Cindy. She said she had to go. Thank you for the live on Friday. That was so much fun. We'll leave that there for now. Cool. Right then, guys. So, I have unfortunately had to let my cameraman go. Roy's got to go out. So, I'm just thinking what we can do to use these guys on a project. So, I might just turn a little bowl or something, really, just to show sticking them on. I think that's the easiest thing to do. I've got a part-turn bowl here that I'm just going to take off and reshape. This was an ex-demo one. It's one I've been sort of playing with the colours on. So I'll reshape this because it will definitely have warped. Return the foot. And then we can stick some stuff on. Oh, he's gone already, Jen. He's gone. Long gone. Right. So let's turn this guy. Just got a little blast of music just then. They're really going for it. Pete. Funny. What have we got? That's in the wrong place. That's in the wrong place. Right, it really is just that camera, I'm afraid. Because I'm not going to just start moving everything again. So, let me clean this up. It's got a good shape on it. So I'm just tidying that up. I've just got it running true again. Just going to swap down to this slightly smaller gouge. Right, that's more or less trued up. Push cut to clean, because we've kind of got the shape, more or less. Bit of a shoulder there, we'll get rid of that. And then I need to return all the foot as well. What I think I might do actually, just as something a bit different, is leave a pronounced lip on this, that I might make something else to put into this. Because I'm working on a few things at the moment, so yeah, that would be quite good to try. Yeah, I'm just going to change the shape slightly. Tidy this bit up. I'm going to return the foot completely. So straight in there with a parting tool, straight edge parting tool. Yeah, recut that so that it's running true. I've already just made this slightly concave. A little bit of decoration will do. No, I haven't. That's not good, is it? So I've just got these tools, and these are coming with me to the US, but they kind of need a bit of attention. I've reground them all to my grind, but I always find I'm not a fan of new tools. Am I weird for that? I'm not a huge fan of them because I always find that they can be a bit snatchy, and because I freehand grind and I'm having to take them off from being fingernail profiles to my preferred traditional grind, it takes a long time, and I I find that until you sort of get them settled, it can be a bit aggressive and a bit snatchy. So I'm not a huge fan of new tools. Strange though that may be. So I probably will end up taking my old tools to the US instead and keeping these guys here, because I'm very happy with the old ones. I know where I am with them. They're good tools. So yeah, I'm kind of going to leave this little bit of a lip. Yeah, that's what we've got at the moment. So I've got this kind of little bit of a lip here on purpose. So we'll give that a sand and then, yeah, put a bit of finish on there and have a look at sticking a couple of things on. And I might just put some more texture paste in some of those other molds, because I've had a bit of an idea for that. So this is going to very much be a you'll kind of see it finished later, but I will post it. So just excuse me a second while I lean over and put this blooming pipe back on my camvac. Sand that little bit as well. Larry, yes, I am still sending products to the US. I will expand upon that in a second. So yes, I am definitely still sending product to the US. I have a vendor. So some of you guys may in the US may know of the Walnut Log, which is Jeff Hornung's shop. So Jeff is my US vendor, and I am still sending product out there. I've got a huge box that's going out to him ready for the symposium, which is lurking in the background. So that is going to be going out to him soon, this week before I go, because I'm going earlier than the symposium, because I've got a few other things to do before the symposium. So yes, that is the answer to your question. I have lost my sanding seal. No, I haven't. There it is. Oh goodness me, that's rock hard. Oh, great. That needs a gallon of thinners in it. So I'm going to skip the sanding sealer and we're going to go straight on to True Grit, which is fantastic stuff. She says, can she find it? There we are. I don't like skipping it, but it does work. It's not a huge issue if you skip the sanding sealer. Only for a demo anyway. Oh, see you later, Martin. Thanks for watching that. It was a really good do. Alright, enjoyed it. So I am bothering to finish this because it will just become a demo piece that I take around to shows and stuff. And the CA glue I found will stick absolutely fine to a surface. I stuck it on one which I can't remember if it had microcrystalline wax or if it was wood wax 22, but it was still a decent a decent wax. So work that into the surface, and then I'm going to go on with microcrystalline on top. Magnets everywhere. Oh, should have thought about this. Actually, I've had another idea, but I think it'll still work. I'm kind of wishing that I hadn't put any finish on that little rim. But like I say, I'm going to have to do some of this after the live anyway to show you where I'm going with it. So that is the microcrystalline wax on. I'm going to turn this round now and do the inside. So I'm just going to hollow this out. Yeah, I think that'll work okay for what I'm wanting to do. Bob, I use a Sunstrom powered respirator. So it is a Swedish brand and it is absolutely superb. It is not the cheapest, but if you want something decent quality, they never are. But it's an absolutely excellent unit, is this. I have both the SR500, which filters gas as well as particles, and I have the 700, which is the one I have on now, which is just for dust only. Let's go on to count 4. So I'm just getting the undercut on there, clearing a bit of the way for the tool to run off. So I want it a bit thinner than that. Possibly. That's better. So, just finishing off the bottom. That is more or less hollowed to where I want it to be. Slow traverse into the middle, just so we don't tear out the very centre. And I'm hoping that you get a good view with camera 4 for the actual journey the tool takes for doing this. So when I'm undercutting, I'm right over here, and I should imagine I was probably leaning in front of the camera. Just be careful if you are really bringing the tool over like that, that you don't accidentally drop off the tool rest. You might have to actually angle the tool rest into the piece a little bit. But you have to do that so that the bevel is rubbing as you bring the cut round. And then as you're getting into that little bit at the bottom, just drop your tool handle and then come back down towards the center. So you're kind of levering it round, and that really helps with the deeper bowls. Need to go a little bit deeper, actually. It's not quite where I want that to be. So my absolute all-time favorite tool is the 1/4 inch bowl gouge. I love turning with this tool. There's kind of nothing that you can't establish with it. You can't do with it. It's just great. The only issue that you ever come across with this is when the reach is just too far and it starts to chatter. But apart from that, I love it. Traditional grind, 1/4 inch bowl gouge. US size, that's a 3/8. For a demo piece, that's okay. So I'm going to give that a little bit of a sand, and then we'll stick some of our stuff on the outside. Oh, nice one, Larry. Yes, I remember him saying that quite a few people had bought some bits and pieces from Florida Symposium. That's really cool. Oh, of course, Lucy, you've got the same one, haven't you? You've got the same unit, and it's super. And I'm afraid after losing legends like Nick Agar and Mark Baker to various cancers of the throat and esophagus, I ain't taking any chances. I got a really bad cough developed last year with the amount of demonstrating I was doing. I did a crazy amount last year, and I have to wear this all the time now. So that's why I want a good one that's comfortable and that I know will work really well. Just turn the speed down a little bit with sanding the inside so we don't build up huge amount of heat. And Haley's got one. Yeah, they are fantastic. That'll do. Bit of paste. And then we'll put some more microcrystalline on there. So again, I'm skipping the sanding sealer just because mine has just almost turned into a solid. So frustrating. It's just been so hot in here. It's obviously not airtight, isn't the jar? And it's dried out. I'll resurrect it with some thinners in a little bit. Hello, David. Yeah, I think a lot of people are sort of waking up to the unfortunate hazards of wood turning. Okay, so same finish inside as outside, just using the microcrystalline. Less is more with this stuff. But yeah, bit annoyed with myself because I wish I hadn't put the wax on that little band, because my plan is I'm kind of going down the route of kind of Nick Agar, Mick Ambry. I'm going to put some texture on that rim and try and make it look metallic with dry brushing and a little bit of texture paste. Maybe with texture paste. And then underneath it, I can only stick one on there now. So that is the turning bit done. If I take this off and go to the overhead camera a second. Stuck. Where's my funky bit of dry brushing? Gone. There we go. Yeah, I'm going to put some colour around that rim. And then I'm going to put these guys around it. I think I might be able to fit 4. And I'll dry brush them all the same colours. So that's the plan. I'm going to line that one up with the grain on there and glue that on. Can I get rid of that green out of it? I hope so. Yeah, I think that'll work. I might even just try and sand that top coat off here. Let's just get a little bit of 400 grit. Oh, sorry, you can't see that, can you? Right. Take this off again. Yeah, that should work. Okay. Yeah, so I think that might look pretty good. I might try and mask this area here. And then we'll paint that black just so that you can get a look. And then I will finish this and I will stick it on my Facebook page. And possibly on YouTube if I can remember how to do that. It's been a while. Tape, masking tape. Yeah, it's a pretty. It's all right, isn't it, Leisure? I think that it's got a lot of potential as this stuff. And I think it's going to be quite limitless, and it's not resin, so it's not got all the same nasties in that resin's got on it. I know that some people are put off with resin. It's nowhere near as messy as resin, but the most important thing is the flexibility. Because it's so flexible, the possibilities of what you can do with it are just limitless almost. So, yeah, I think it's cool. I think it's cool. Right. My masking tape does not like microcrystalline wax. There's a huge surprise. This means I need to be trying to be neat. But I reckon that this might work pretty well. Oh, we've got some country music now going on. It's all karaoke, which is why it's kind of terrible. Right. Put that in there. So I'm going to go on with the gesso, I think, which I put away, didn't I? Let me just grab it. Gesso, where are you? Nope. Of course I didn't put it away somewhere I can find it. So I'm going to use gesso because it's a very similar finish to the texture paste, as in it's got that slight keyed finish to it. So I'm just putting this on so that you're getting an idea for where I'm going with this and what I kind of have in my mind. Might not work, but I think it will. So I'll leave it on the front camera for now, guys. I'm sorry that it's not overhead, but I can't really see particularly well with the overhead one. And then I'm gonna have to take a little bit off the front face of this because it's easier than faffing around trying to mask all that as well. Oh, Madonna. It was once Madonna. This would have been good to do before I actually did the inside, is the paint in the black. I hate masking stuff off. Right. So what I'm going to do with the texture paste is, I think, let's have a look through the molds and see if we can find something that might work quite well with that top bit. Right. Where's that bag? I've bought so many molds, guys. Honestly, it's just ridiculous. I went a bit mad. So chocolate molds, fondant molds, they're really good ones to look for. Oh, that's got a really cool butterfly. So obviously we're going to try that out, but not today. No, nothing in that lot springs to mind. What I kind of thought about doing is if I get a piece of plastic. So this is just what the molds came in. Oh, have we got room on the molds themselves? If I put this overhead, just while that dries, I'm hoping I can do little blobs so that I can just let them sit there. Ah, that's bunged up. Bit of copper wire just to fetch that out. Okay. Oh, well, that didn't work. Got a lot of air in the tube. I'm trying to just use the nozzle. It's very thick, is this? I'm not sure this will work. Need one of them toothpaste tube squeezy thingies. No, I don't think this will work. My idea was just to put a blob. That's not a blob. It looks like a caterpillar. Oh, hi, JP Woodwork. Hello. Nice to see you. It's been a while. Oh, thank you very much. I'm pretty sure that you super chatted me on Friday, and I'm really sorry because I didn't spot it for ages because I was kind of full flow. So I'm very sorry if I didn't. But it's really cool to see you. I was eating some chocolate the other day and was thinking about you because of that amazing chocolate that you once sent us. Oh, it's so cool to have you here. Oh, Mr. Page, JP. We had fun at Makers the other week, didn't we? No, this is not working. Or is it? Shall we put spikes around there? Look at this, guys. We've got kind of spikes going on. The answer is yes. That's what we're going to do. So I'm just going to make a load of these. It's better than a dot. It's different. Oh, there was an amazing woodturner who used to put thorns on stuff. I can't remember his name. It's evading me. It was really cool. Was his work? I was really inspired when I first saw it. Yes, it's gonna look like it's a goth bowl. So I'm doing that straight onto the silicone because it should just come straight off once it's dried. See, I've had a lot of these recently. Most people call them happy accidents. Oh, JP Woodwork, flipping up. That's you, Jamie, innit? Oh, I'm getting mixed up with somebody else that I think super chatted on Friday. I am sorry. Jamie Page. I'm getting you mixed up with somebody that I know in Spain who used to be on the lives all the time and then he disappeared. But yeah, it was really cool at Makers. Really cool. I really enjoyed spending time with everybody. Right. So part of me's thinking, it's so rubbish when Roy's not here doing the cameras. I'm ever so sorry. Part of me's thinking, I really want to turn this off because it's annoying me that I've kind of got it on there. But another part of me doesn't want to turn it off because I still need to do dry brushing when those little things have dried. So let's take the masking tape off. And that's worked. We've got a decent clean line on there. Cool. So yeah, we've got that bit. Oh, what do I do? No, I'll turn it off once those have dried tomorrow. So all I'm going to finish off with now, guys, is I'm going to glue that one little bit on. I am going to do it on the lathe here because I can sort of place it and see where I'm going with it, and then I'll take it off and show you. So CA glue is what we need. I'm going to go with thick CA glue so that it won't end up squeezing all over the place. He probably has, Mike. There's me thinking that he's doing something really important, and I'll hear him singing away in a minute. That would be so funny. He did do karaoke at the weekend of last year. I probably kill me for telling you that. I'd kind of just signed him up for it. We did American Pie together. It was terrible because I'm an awful singer, but it was funny. Let me see if I can move the overhead camera a little bit over without making everybody suddenly feel motion sickness. There we go. That's what we're achieving. So I don't mind if this gets a little bit more dry brushing. Oh, it was you, JP. Well, thank you very much, mate. I massively appreciate it. That's really cool of you. That is looking... Let me zoom out a bit more. That is looking pretty sweet, I have to say. Ooh, Troy! Now that is an idea. Yes, sir. So, Troy, does that mean that I also need to put some black on the inside of this piece? Do you think? I might have to do another one. Yes, let's do that. That is a really cool idea. Right, this is finally starting to grip. I didn't want to use the activator because I didn't want to spray that onto the finish of the piece. But that is sticking, and it's molded both that curve and that curve, if that makes sense. Oh man. Oh, I'm very excited as to what this is potentially going to mean. So you don't have to be an amazing carver to be able to put cool embellishments on something. But you do need to have a go at the dry brushing because that certainly adds to it. Cool. So just let that dry a little bit longer. I'm just going to grab this brush and I'm going to try and just clean up because I've got some bits of green mica on there, which I don't want on there. That's cool. So dry brushing it off the piece definitely helps because now we haven't got cleanup. If I grab the one that we did last time, I dry brushed that on the piece and you can probably see where it's kind of gone around, and I had to start going around it with some microcrystalline on a cloth trying to get it all off and kind of give up part way around. So that just gives you a very, very neat surface. Okay, Troy, so keep it natural on the inside. So would you have a blob on the outside dry brushed and match it with the pointy blob on the inside? Is that what we're kind of thinking? So we've got a smooth blob there and a pointy blob there, or would you just go for... Because I almost feel like this does need some sort of texture on it, especially now I've painted it black, just to bring it to life. But just dry brushing on a curve, it's not that great, really. That's flipping cool. So I need to put some texture paste into that mold, ready to go, wherever it's gone. Where has it gone? It was... Which one was it? That one. I might do that one too. And then I can... Yeah. I'll have to move the camera back. Sorry, everyone. Right. So, while I'm doing this, just to... Oh, have I accidentally muted myself? Sorry about that. Fabri-Tac. Oh, Haley, it might do. Yeah, that might work. There. Do I keep muting myself by accident? Yeah, I'll give it a try, Haley, because I really couldn't tell you whether it will work or not. So this is something that is annoying, guys, is keeping your... Oh, you can hear. Good. Thank you, John. Is keeping your silicone molds clean. I put them in Ziploc bags when I'm not using them, because if you don't, and you are working in an environment like this, I've just thrown this to one side, it's full of bits. So I'm just trying to brush it out with a paintbrush. It's got quite stiff bristles, but yeah, you can never really clean them as well as when you remove something from them. So I'm going to do that one, and I'm going to do this one at the bottom, because they are both quite nice shapes. So that's just come straight out of the tube. Give that a good push where we've got a large expanse. Don't think I've got enough texture paste in there because they're really deep molds of these. So I'm kind of poking it all in. Scrape it off the surface. No, there isn't quite enough to do that mold, so let me get a bit more out. Cool. Oh, seen as JP's on actually, guys. JP, Jamie Page has his own YouTube channel, and he does tons of resin stuff. And I'm just going to show you in a second the awesome resin blank that he made me and gave me at Makers Central, which I'm going to turn on a live at some point. So thank you very much for that, Jamie. It's really cool. So if anybody has their own channel, or if anybody's got any interesting stuff coming up soon, just bung it in the chat so that people know. Especially because I'm not going to be putting anything live for a few weeks after today. So let's share the love, guys. So we've got our texture paste is in. So that is going to dry overnight, and then I'm going to do the same, and I will finish that bowl and stick it on YouTube. And I'll just give you one last kind of update on our little plate that we did right at the start. I'm not quite sure. I think the fourth camera actually might show you a bit better. Will it? No, overhead. Yeah, the white's lost nearly all its definition now. Whereas the black has still got a pretty good definition on it. It's lost a little bit. If I go back in there now, I could possibly improve things. Now it's dried out a bit, so I'm going to go over this again. Sorry, I'll put it on the overhead camera. I'm going to go in over this again with the palette knife just to try and improve that texture. And I will go over the black as well. Now this one is a lot better, but it has lost a little bit. Oh, actually this one's drying already, which is good. But I'm just going to give it a flick and just improve it a tad. Yeah. So I'll take a picture of that as well and put that up. Cool. Right then, guys. So now I've got my idea from Troy. Thank you very much for that, Troy. I'm going to have a play with that and keep an eye on the blobs that I've done. That is where we are at so far. Again, I will show you on the other camera. So that is looking pretty cool. That is really, really interesting. Greg is Jo Sonja Texture Paste. This one here. Jo Sonja's Texture Paste in black. So there are various places that you guys in the US can buy it. For anybody over in the UK, I sell it on my website, The Tiny Turner, and the new website, paintsandpigments.com. So thetinyturner.co.uk or paintsandpigments.com. If you are wanting other paints as well, guys, then you might be better off buying it from paintsandpigments.com. I don't have the full range of the Jo Sonja stuff on Tiny Turner, just because it's just so much work to move it all across. So if you are wanting some other paints, then get it from there. Or if you're wanting, alternatively, if you're wanting other bits and pieces from my side of things, then go and get it from thetinyturner.co.uk. But those are the two websites, and there's plenty available. I have loads of this stuff, and I think it's something, I can't remember how much it is. It's £6 or something for a tube or something along those lines. It's not a great amount. Let me see. Products, texture paste. £5.25. There you go. £5.25. So it's not. Oops, that was for Jamie. It's not a a deal breaker by any means, but it is pretty cool. I've just realised that it's not focusing very well. There we go. Sorry about that. Cool. Right then, guys. So I am. Oh, right. Cheers. So Pete's put his up. Pete's the only one to put anything up at the moment. Next 3 Sundays. Yeah, cool. All yours, Pete, because I won't be here. So I'm really looking forward to seeing people in the US. If you are coming to the AAW, that'd be really, really awesome to see you. If not, then I'm working in Colorado. So I'm in Denver for about a week, and then I go to North Dakota for a week, and then the AAW, and then finally I'm down in Atlanta. I really need to write down the names of the clubs. I know them at Front Range Woodturners, and I can't remember the others. I'm so sorry if you are a member of those clubs. I didn't think about that. If anybody is in any of those areas, then please, and you are interested in coming to either a demo or on a class, then get in touch with me. You can get in touch via the websites, or you can email me directly. And I will try and respond and point you in the right direction to get in touch with people to see if there are any of the classes that are going to be left, or any of the demos. It would be really cool to see people there. And if you fill the carved texture, does the top layer turn away like Milliput? Kev, no, it doesn't quite turn like Milliput. It blunts your tools. There's something in it that gives you the texture that blunts your tools really easily. I tried that earlier and it just took the edge off, whereas the Milliput you can turn. So no, it's not quite the same as that. But yeah, good shout. But yeah, anyway, Lucy, I am in America for 3 weeks. I go next Sunday, very, very early hours next Sunday morning. I set off, and then I am back 3 weeks after that. There will not be a live that day. So the next live is probably the very last weekend in June, depending on what day that is, or maybe the first weekend in July. So that is when the next one is. I am going to get into lives a little bit more, guys. I'm going to pick up doing IRDs again as well. That is the plan. It might be worth keeping an eye out and signing up for the newsletter, because I really need to improve using that and just generally become more organized. But yeah, stay tuned. Later this year, we've got quite a few things that's planned. We've had plans for a while, but then things happened and we had to put focuses and monies elsewhere. So I'm finally getting back on track with things, and hopefully after the American visit, then things will start to appear again. But yes, thank you very much, guys, for joining me. It's been loads of fun. I hope that this has given you a few ideas. I will post the finished item. I will finish this before I go to the US. So I'm going to wait till that texture paste dries tomorrow and put another few bits and pieces on here and get this done. And then I'll post it on my Facebook page, which is The Tiny Turner. And I'll try and remember to post it on YouTube as well. So cool. Right. Yes. Troy, go to bed. And I will see you when I see you guys. Take care, everybody, and have a brilliant time turning, and look after yourselves while I'm away, and I'll see you when I'm back. Bye for now.